أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. صلى الله عليك يا سيدي ويا مولاي يا أبا عبد الله. صلى الله عليك يا سيدي يا ابن رسول الله. ما خاب من تمسك بكم ومن من لجأ إليكم. يا ليتنا كنا معكم سادتي فنفوز فوزا عظيما إن شاء الله. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. وإنك لعلى خلق عظيم. صدق الله العلي العظيم. Respected brothers, my sons, thank you so much for coming in. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Okay, so we've started the lectures, guys, with by the way, you're more than welcome to move forward. We've started the lectures with the question why the movement of Imam Hussein and why the revolution of Imam Hussein and why Imam Hussein is matter for us. So within the last few nights we did try to cover the social life of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. Where did he grow up? What kind of atmosphere he lives? And who was looking after him? And what kind of knowledge he did manage to get from Prophet Muhammad, Fatima al-Zahra alayhi salam, and Imam al-Miruni alayhi salam. And yesterday, what we've done, to be fair, we have said that we did manage to cover the first part of the answer for the question. The answer for the question, let's say the first part of the answer for the question, if anyone going to grow in this atmosphere, has got Prophet as Prophet Muhammad, a dad is Imam Ali alayhi salam, a mom is Fatima al-Zahra alayhi salam, uncle, auntie from both sides, mother and father, that person deserves to be followed. There's no doubt with that. So when we sit here and remember his name and his musibah, that is triggering something in our knowledge and in our brain that this person deserves to be followed. Okay? So today we come into the second part of the answer for the question. I wanted to cover the ethical aspect of the life of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. So this ethical aspect was all about how was Imam Hussein alayhi salam living and what was the ethical values which he put for us. So this question before that we need to answer, to be fair. The Quran said that, and the verse which we started the lecture with, وَإِنَّكَ لَعَلَى خُلُقٍ عَظِيمٍ. So this verse has come in as a dialogue from Allah toward His Prophet. And once you get that kind of compliment, that compliment didn't come in from me toward anyone else. It's coming from the holy side of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to Prophet Muhammad. He's one of his creatures. And imagine when the God described one of his creatures that he's got the greatest ethics ever. That means it's really valuable and it does need deep thinking. However, I don't want to cover the ethics and the ethical life of Prophet Muhammad. But that is just an example about the person who did supervise the tarbiyah of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. So, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam has got that compliment, and he did manage to pass that ethical instruction and values to his grandson, Imam Hussein alayhi salam. So, the question comes up, some of the people who are looking at the revolution of Imam Hussein, or the nahda of Imam Hussein, the rise of Imam Hussein, saying, okay, so where is the ethics in the atmosphere? Somebody has got a sword in his hand, he went to the battlefield, he fought, and he's been killed. Simple as that. So what's the ethics? I think when these people put in that objection about the thawra and the nahda of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, what are they trying to do? They're trying to make the vision kind of blurry for us. They try to mix the facts to make us looking at few things and not looking at the personality of Imam Hussein. They try to avoid the starting point of the thawra of Imam Hussein and goes to the consequences straight away. They just jump into the consequences. When they jump to the consequences, they're not following the logical dialogue. So they making that mess to making us focusing on the consequences, but not looking at the beginning of the life of Imam Hussein and how example of ethics he was. So this person didn't carry the sword from day one. He was a peaceful person on the time of Imam Amir al-Mu'minin alayhi salam. So Imam Amir al-Mu'minin alayhi salam passed away in the 40 years after Hijrah. Okay. After 11 years, Imam Hussein alayhi salam was under the imam of his brother Imam Hassan, and that was for another 11 years. So we haven't seen any kind of action from Imam Hussein alayhi salam to where these people, Muawiyah was there, Umayyah was there. So when the turn comes to Imam Hussein alayhi salam, Muawiyah was at that moment called Khalifa, unfortunately. And this person is kind of a human devil. Okay, just Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. So Muawiyah was actually a human devil, unfortunately. So this person has got that kind of, I don't know, the shaitan, Satan intelligence to manage the situation for the Muslims, to make them swearing on Imam Ali for years and years and years. He did manage to change the mentality for the people who follow Imam Ali to make them enemies of Imam Ali in a few years. So he's got a lot of horrible strategies to create that mess on the Islamic history, unfortunately. So Imam Hussein was at that time Imam while Muawiyah was Khalifa. So there was no action for Thawra. Thawra has waited until the 60 years after Hijrah. That's when Imam Hussein started moving from Medina to Mecca, and then from Mecca went to Karbala. Mention in the historical books about Imam Hussein something we can utilize in our daily life. So, first thing comes over when I was doing my reading is al-Saraha. So, honesty. One of the things Imam Hussein was quite famous with, and that's obviously not just Imam Hussein. So when we say ethical values, just bear in mind, this is not just Imam Hussein. It exists in every single Imam. However, we're speaking about Imam Hussein, so we want to zoom into that and try to think what kind of actions he's done to reflect this ethical value. So that honesty that was one of the ethical values Imam Hussein alayhi salam mentioned to. That honesty in some points did put Imam Hussein alayhi salam in a risky situation. When Imam Hussein alayhi salam has been invited by Muawiyah to give bay'ah to Yazid. That wasn't the life of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. So what Imam Hussein said at that time, bear in mind, Muawiyah was a strong Khalifa. He wasn't just a normal, I don't know, state president or something. So at that moment, Imam Hussein has been invited to a general majlis. So Imam Hussein, the Muawiyah said, listen, I'm thinking to put my son after me. So Imam Hussein said, أيها الأمير, O Amir, إنا أهل بيت النبوة, we are the house of the prophecy. ومعدن الرسالة ومختلف الملائكة ومحل الرحمة. So the angels keep coming and going all the time to our house. We are the basis of the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. بنا فتح الله وبنا ختم. That, just them 4 words will need عقائد, مبحث, a search, a lecture, will take us at least an hour. How is Allah open with them? And how is Allah gonna end with them? So, Yazid, he is a manipulated man, a bad man, قاتل النفس المحترمة, he's a killer for the respected nafs. معلن بالفسق, he just quite clear with the, unfortunately, the fisq and the bad things. ومثلي لا يبايع مثله. You're not going to put me with him. Just always remember your lines, O Muawiyah. Not me, going to be close from him. So, this level of honesty, sometimes the life putting us in some situations that we need to be honest, even if that honesty gonna put us a little bit at risk. And then I'm gonna go further and further in the next few minutes when we're gonna go to the Safa al-Akhlaqi of Imam Hussein Abi al-Dhaim. And one of the interesting things, Imam Hussein alayhi salam, obviously you know that he sent his cousin to Kufa to declare his revolution. And that was before he's heading to Kufa. So Muslim Aqil salamullah alayhi has been killed, assassinated. And then when he was on the way down to Kufa, to Kabbalah from Medina, he saw somebody, the narration said he's al-Farazdaq, he's one of the poets, famous poets at that time. So Al-Farazdaq told him, listen, yeah, the people in Kufa, their hearts with you, but their swords against you. So he had that massive group of people around him. He could have hidden that fact from these people to say, no, nothing happened. Let's carry on, we'll be fine. The first thing he said, and look at these words, they're full of pain, but they're quite honest. قد خذلتنا شيعتنا. Unfortunately, our Shia did let us down. فمن أحب منكم الانصراف فلينصرف ليس عليه ذمام. Whoever want to leave me, free to go. You're not going to be questioning, guys. And some points, let's say in our life, if we're going to have a situation that we need to make a difficult decision and be honest with ourselves and the others around us, I reckon it's quite important to take a message of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. The second ethical thing has been fully spotted by all the people who spoke about Imam Hussein is the patient. Al-Sabr. Imam Hussein alayhi salam was not just patient, he was applying that on himself and recommended his Ahl Bayti, yani his family companion and his family people, to follow that kind of patience. So he was saying, Sabran Ahl Bayti, Sabran Ahl Bayti, Sabran Ahl Bayti. He was saying it 3 times. Ya Bani Umumati, oh my Ahl Bayt, be patient. فوالله لا رأيتم هوانا بعد هذا اليوم. Oh God, be patient. You're not going to be letting down after this day, because on the day of judgment you're going to see the real jaza. And in this point, we pass in a lot of challenges in our life, but we never ever think seriously about testing ourselves for the sabr in some point. Not all of us. Some of us has got that ethical aspect. Sabr will lead us to achieve our goals, but unfortunately without the sabr we won't be able to achieve it. The people who's been gifted to walk to Karbala, from Najaf to Karbala, that's just a famous example for all the people who are doing it. So let's say from Najaf to Karbala, people are walking sometimes from Iran, people are walking from Kuwait. So these people, the main thing they need to hold when they walk is being patient to get to their destination. If they're not going to be patient, that kind of tiredness and that kind of pain, which is going to happen to their muscles, their joints, is going to let them down. Take that and reflect it on your own life. You're going to find in every single thing you do, if you're not going to utilize this virtue of Imam Hussein on your life, you're not going to make any achievement. I am not going to make any achievement. None of us is going to make any achievement. So, I don't know, you start in a company as a normal employee, and then you start going up and up and up, climbing the ladder. There's no way that you're going to start as a normal employee on day one and you're expecting in 6 months to be a CEO. But you could be a CEO after 6 years. You could be a CEO after 7 years. You could be a CEO after 3 years. So that legitimate target for you to choose, however, it does need that kind of patience. So, the other virtue as being captured by Imam Hussein alayhi salam is the hulum. Imam Hussein alayhi salam has been monitored by his slaves. At that time, guys, some of the people are putting objections about the slavery system of Islam. They said, why are we getting that? You follow Islam, and Islam did make that slavery as a legitimate policy for the life at that moment. The discussion on that section is quite deep. If we're going to go through it, we need to explain what was the situation for the Arab at that time, why the Islam, when the Islam came, did they try to put that within the Islamic umbrella and put rules for it. And the other things, obviously, we need to explain, was that exist just in the Islamic culture, or it actually exists on the other cultures as well. And you know what? I had one of the guys, it just comes in my mind now. He was working with me as one of my staff in my company. He's originally from Somalia. He lives in Liverpool. And one of the guys that were working with me, he said, this guy, his dad, still has a stamp in his shoulder as he was a slave on the ships of Great Britain in the beginning of the 20th century. So we're talking about 1910, 1920. So what they used to do, they used to use a hot metal, and they used to leave a sign on their hands just to recognize them from the others. So the slaves system exists everywhere. So there's no way to come in and put objection against Islam. However, how did the Islam treat them? That's the key things. And if you want to ask about how did the Islam treat them, Don't go to people like Shimr ibn the Joshan, who was getting in a situation, I can't say it on this number, and then start beating his slave up until that person dying, sorry. Yes, I think you've seen it on the series. Okay, so one of the things you're gonna see by the enemies of Imam Hussein alayhi salam and Ahlul Bayt, that's when they treated their slaves, they treated them in a bad way to get them up to the level that's, listen guys, just leave them and just be with me, no worries about it. Okay, that's one of the kind of bala for all of us, alhamdulillah. So, one of the things you're gonna find out, that's when Ahlul Bayt was dealing with their slaves at that time, they got that kind of mercy, and that narration was about another ethical value of Ahlul Bayt called al-hulum. Al-hulum mean person is not going hungry from the same second. So, I don't know, let's say you woke up in the morning, you put the toast in the toaster, you forgot the toast getting burned, and then that person gonna start smacking everything in the front of his face, breaking the plates, causing a mess. Sometimes some people are crossing the line to even, unfortunately, swear on their dad and their mom and even their friends around them, just because I've got no more time to have my breakfast now, how I'm going to make it. So that kind of hulum, this message of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, and one occasion, one of his slaves did make a mistake. And that slave did deserve, sorry, yes. Of course, feel free. And that slave deserved the punishment. So Imam Hussein asked the other people around him, listen, get him ready for the punishment. So that slave person say these verses in the Quran, وَالْكَاظِمِينَ الْغَيْظِ, the people who are holding their anger. So Imam Hussein watched him and gave him that smile. Told him, okay, I'm not hungry anymore. So the abd carry on in the verse, say, وَالْعَافِينَ عَنِ النَّاسِ. Okay, so the Quran, وَالْكَاظِمِينَ الْغَيْظِ وَالْعَافِينَ عَنِ النَّاسِ, that's the verse in the Quran, by the way. The people who give forgiveness to the others. So Imam Hussein said, okay, I forgive you. And then the slave gone further and further and further to say, Wallahu yuhibbul muhsineen, or the God love the people who muhsins. So in that moment Imam Hussein said, okay, I'm gonna release you. You hur li wajhillah. This hur li wajhillah, you are free, mean at that moment the only thing the master need to do to his slave is just say these three words, Anta hur li wajhillah, that's it. So that means he giving him the freedom. Giving him the freedom, that person will be able to have his own properties, will be able to get married as the normal masters, he will be able to have his own life, he will be able to open his own business, and he could be, I don't know, a millionaire on the standards of that time. So the Imam Hussein alayhi salam, one of the things, interesting things, is that the people who were looking to get something beneficial from him, they were waiting for his moment of anger to ask him. Imagine, see the level of control of the emotions for that level. So once you get that level of Kadhim al-Ghayz, then I think we got the right to say, yeah, we are Husseinis. There's another thing as well, guys, comes up of the seerah of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, the humbleness, at-tawadhu. Imam Hussein alayhi salam is not just Imam Hussein. Obviously, that these narrations, the books has been filled with them. Unfortunately, in some points, some of the people here, when you speak to them about tawadhu, the first thing comes in their mind is the weakness. Oh, if I'm going to show tawadhu, if I'm going to be humble, that means that I'm going to be weak. So I shouldn't really be in that situation. And unfortunately, sometimes, guys, we got that grey area in our life where we get quite difficult situation to separate between the black and white. There's two different things between be arrogant, own the arrogant, and be humble for the people who are actually your brothers in deen, madhab, and background. It's quite important to separate between them. In the narration said, التكبر على المتكبر عبادة. If the person has got that kind of feeling that he's higher than anyone else, you got the right to be arrogant on that person. However, being humble on our day-to-day life is quite beneficial, because the narration said, من تواضع لله رفعه الله. However, getting humble just for the sake of Allah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will make him higher and higher. And you're going to find Allah, and I mean it, a lot of narrations of ashab of ammar alayhim salam have reflected that. Not just the ammar, ashab of ammar alayhim salam. Have you heard about, I'm presuming, the obviously it's quite famous, Salman al-Muhammadi. It's really famous. Do you know that Salman al-Muhammadi was a governor on the time of Imam Amir al-Mu'minin alayhi salam? Are you aware of that? Okay, so if you are aware of that, do you know what city he was the governor on? Is it quite famous in Baghdad? Yes. Al-Madain. Ahsant. Something close. There's a city called Madain. It's just on the north of Baghdad. That city has been freed from the Romanian people. So a lot of people that used to live there, they were high standard. Merchants, people has got money. So Imam Amir al-Mu'minin was Khalifa at that time. Well, he's Khalifa in our doctrine anyway from day one. However, Imam Amir al-Mu'minin was Khalifa at that time. Guys, don't worry, listen, don't worry about them, okay? So Imam Amir al-Mu'minin was Khalifa at that time, and he asked Salman al-Muhammadi to go over there to be his governor, so his representative, to manage the shu'un of Muslimin at that time. So the messenger went there. They told him, listen, the governor of the Khalifa is going to come into the city. And then he's been told, obviously at that time, you know, there was no airplanes, there was no cars. So the people who was moving the message, they're moving by the horses. So they know how much time that person is going to take. If he's walking, or if he's coming on a donkey, or if he's coming on a horse, or if he's coming on a camel. So they know very well. So the messenger went there. He said, listen, I reckon he's going to be in some point, in probably, I don't know, probably Monday. So let's put a day. So they went out waiting for him. Somebody came in, has got normal clothes, has got a donkey and a small pouch. So he passed them, Assalamu alaikum, alaikum assalam. He went to the city. So they were waiting for the governor. And then the Rasul was there at that time. So up until the end of the day. So they went to the Rasul. They said, where is that governor? You say he's coming in today. He said, he's in the palace. I said, what? He said, they just passed here. He said, he's in the palace. So who's that? So that guy came on the donkey with the pouch on the donkey. So that was the governor. So they went to him, they said, oh yeah, we were expecting from you that you're going to come in a proper horse with guards and all kind of hey-ha. He said, why? Why do I need this? So this is dunya. Going over and over and over, deeper and deeper and deeper on these things, that's going to make our mentality deviated from the real message which we've got. It's not bad to have a good car. It's not bad to wear proper clothes. But don't make them a purpose. Don't make them a goal. Just use them as a tool. That's the key things. It's nice to get the Shia of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam, the best of the best. But when these Shia are falling on the trap, that is the risk. So at that moment, Imam Hussein alayhi salam was walking in Medina. There's people next to the Masjid al-Nabawi called Ahlul Sufa. Ahlul Sufa, if you heard about a group of people called the Sufis, so the people who went to Turkey, the Turkey is full of these mosques, and then you see them sometimes doing that kind of, they call it something remind them with Allah. So that kind of Sufis dance. So that movement have started at the time of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. People said to Prophet Muhammad, we hate the life, we're going to take ourselves away, we're going to sit next to the Masjid al-Nabawi, and our life day in and day out is going to be eating minimum, sleeping minimum, and doing ibadah. So Prophet Muhammad at that time told them, okay guys, as long as you're not causing any harm for the people around you, I'm okay with that. So how do you manage to get families? They said, we're happy with that. Okay, fair enough. So these people, they were the lowest in the society, not with their ethical side, with their financial side. So there's not everyone, when these people inviting others to join them on their food and on their meal, that not everybody accepting that invitation, because people thinking, it's like, so give you an example is, if you see like a homeless person in the city centre and he's eating something and you pass him and he's just inviting you, would you like to share that with me? So what's going to be your reaction? What's going to be my reaction? Oh yeah, no, it's a bit weird, isn't it? So that is similar to this. So Imam Hussein passed them, they invited him. So Imam Hussein said, okay, I'll accept that, but with a condition. I said, what? He said, I'm going to sit with you, but tomorrow meal is going to be on me. You come into my house and I'm going to cook the meal for you. They accepted it. And the next day, he served them by himself. So that is the level of the humbleness of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. Bear in mind, probably we still get about 10 minutes, inshallah. When we talk about Imam Hussein alayhi salam, we say this word, Imam. Do you know what's the depth of this word? So, not the meaning, the depth. Do you know that everything goes in the world at that time goes by the permission of the Imam? So just try to get that in your mind and think about it. Everything goes in the world, and when I say everything, I mean everything. Earthquake, rain, fire, disasters, rizq, death, everything goes by the supervision and the knowledge of the Imam. That's what we believe, and that's what has been mentioned. I don't want to go through that now because that's going to take us for another probably 10 days. Okay. One of the other ethical aspects has been mentioned about Imam Hussein alayhi salam is al-jud wa sakha. He was that generous. When he was given money, he wasn't even has got limits for his giving. So, and that giving, guys, so the philosophy of the giving is quite interested in Islam. When you think about it, Allah is pushing us to give. Prophet Muhammad pushing us to give, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. All the ammar pushing us to give. That kind of giving, not always about the money. The money is quite important. Yes, I'm with you. But sometimes the time is giving. Sometimes the knowledge is giving. Sometimes the experience is giving. So once you get, just a minute, let me just finish, please. So once you get sometimes in a situation that's you got a brilliant knowledge with a skill, and then you feel that your friend is struggling to build his career, please take Ahlul Bayt as an example and take a step further to offer him that kind of giving. Just say, listen, I've got that skill, I'm here to help. If you are loyal, honestly need to build your future, come over, give you my hand. So we get these kind of things by Ahlul Bayt, and it has been reflected over and over and over again. And it's not just that, they were given to their enemies. It's something blowing your mind. And some points, I tell you that story, that not about Imam Hussein alayhi salam, it's about his son, Imam Zayn al-Abidin. It just comes in my mind now. And it's that brilliant. It's when you think about it, you say, bloody hell, that these people are not normal people. They're really better than angels, and they really deserve to make them examples to follow them. There's a Khalifa in the Abbasi time called Abu Ja'far al-Mansur. Abu Ja'far al-Mansur, we not calling him Mansur in our traditions, because that name means he's got the victory from Allah. And he hasn't got the victory from Allah. He was kha'in. He tried to climb the ladder for the name of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, and he killed the atba' of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam next day after he became Khalifa. So we're not calling him Mansur, we're calling him a Dawaniqi. That Dawaniqi mean, it's like the pennies now. So that was the currency of that time. So he was that mean. That's when the currency is falling down off his pocket, even if he's Khalifa and he's got millions, he was picking it up and saving it. Just clean it from the dust and saving it somewhere. At that time, the son of Hisham ibn Abdul Malik, Hisham ibn Abdul Malik was Khalifa on the Umayyad time. Hisham ibn Abdul Malik was the killer of Imam Zayn al-Abidin alayhi salam. At that time, that son of Hisham ibn Abdul Malik went to Abu Ja'far al-Dawaniqi. See, when they used to live at that time, guys, they're living in a palace, are they? So they got that kind of precious jewelries. So what they're doing, when they're getting kicked off, they're keeping that in their pocket, and they're saving it somewhere, and then they try to sell it in the market. So that the son of Hisham ibn Abdul Malik, he knew in fact that if he's going to take these jewelries to anyone in the market, they're not going to pay the real value for it. So he decided to take it to Abu Ja'far al-Mansur. He wears something on his head to make him known as the son of Abu Ja'far of Hisham ibn Abdul Malik at that time. Abu Ja'far al-Dawaniqi was quite clever. So he went to him, he said, listen, I need your help. I said, what? I said, I've got these jewelries, they're quite valuable jewelries, I want to sell them to you. At the moment, when Abu Ja'far al-Mansur, I've seen them, he knows that's these jewelries from the palace of the Khalifa. They've been stolen. So he told him, listen, I think I know who you are. So in that moment, he escaped this person. So what he's done, he went to his house, he took his family, and he went where? To the house of Imam Zayn al-Abidin at that time. So who was living there? His son Imam al-Baqir. So the son of the killer went to the son of the victim. The killer was Hisham, the victim was Imam Zayn al-Abidin. The son of the killer went to the son of the victim, and he told him, listen, you are Ahlul Bayt al-Nubuwwah. You are honestly the house of prophecy. وَمَعْدَنَ الرِّسَالَةِ. You are where is the message came to. And I know there's no one, and I mean it, no one gonna save me from Abu Ja'far apart from you. I want to leave my family, just bear in mind, comes back to Karbala and see what Bani Umayyah has done to the family of Imam Hussein. Said, I want to save my family in your house just for a few moments, a few days, until that storm calmed down. Imam Baqir, the first thing he said, yes, bring them in. So he was feeding them, the narration said, between a month and 2 months. Until that storm calmed down, he came back to them on night and he took them. Imagine if that can happen to any of us. It's quite difficult to have that giving up to that level, have that kind of sacrificing up to that level. So that is the manhaj of Ahlul Bayt. So Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam was quite famous with the giving, quite famous with the giving. So I don't think we've got a lot of time left. I want to go about something, I left it to the end, which is Abi al-Dhaym. One of the things is quite famous with Imam Hussein alayhi salam. He's not accepting the dhulm. Anyone who's going to cause dhulm, he's not going to accept it. Mo, just give us attention, please. Okay, so when you see the situation of Islamic world at that time, and you see how Yazid was breaching all the standards for Islam and crossing the red lines here and there, you're going to realize how tough is the challenge of Imam Hussein at that time. And even with this, he had take that decision to say, ألا إن الدعي ابن الدعي قد ركز بين اثنتين بين السلة والذلة وهيهات من الذلة. The meaning of this, guys, imagine if now someone quite famous gonna have the cameras in front of him and gonna say to someone, can the main leader in the world, let's say Trump in America, to say, oh yeah, you are, I can't say it on this number, but you didn't come in from legitimate marriage, you, and you given me the option between the fight and killed by the Silla, which is, the Silla is the name of taking the sword out of its house. So that's what they call it. Silla is safe, took it out. So you're giving me the choice between the Silla or the Dhilla. Humidity. So, يَأْبَى اللَّهُ لَنَا ذَلِكَ. I'm not going to let myself down for you. Allah not giving us the permission to do that. وَنُفُوسٌ أَبِيَّةٌ مِنْ طاعة اللئام على مجاورة الكرام. And he said that famous word, هيهات من الذل. However, what was the price that Imam Hussein has paid for that? And what was the message which we have in our daily, in our nowadays, to reflect that message of Imam Hussein in our life. We're getting in a situation, guys, and the very young people going to face that in the very near future. The people who are working now, they're being put in a critical situation. That's if they're going to say no to Israel, and if they're going to say no to the aggression of the Zalimeen in the world, they're going to be kicked out. And I think the people who see Instagram and the people who see the TikTok and all the social media, they're realizing how tough is the price for the trends people have paid. Some of them, all the contracts has been taken of them. Some of them, all the money has been withdrawn from them, whether they are basketballers, I don't know, you name it. You probably know them more than me. So drag the time of Imam Hussein to this time. I'm not saying these people are equal to Imam Hussein, but I am saying the tough decision against the aggression, always expensive. The price which he paid is always expensive. Never think it's easy. However, the gain for that pain is massive. It's massive. Just because there is a wa'ad of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He said it in the Quran. He said, in tansurullah yansurkum. As long as you're gonna fight for Allah, Allah will make you always the winner. وَيُثَبِّتْ أَقْدَامَكُمْ. See that kind of hesitating? That's not going to stay for long. You will get that kind of iman that you will be able to fight the world by yourself. However, that moment when you say, no, you stop there, you're doing mistakes. I'm not having it, I'm not accepting that. And bear in mind, when Imam Hussein said no, he didn't say for Yazid no, just because, no, I'm Imam, I'm not going to come and to give you bay'ah. No. He said, قاتل النفس المحترم شارب الخمر يلعب بالقرود. So you are the killer of the respected humanity nafs. You playing with monkeys, which is not allowed in Islam. You just drinking alcohol day in and day out. So it's not allowed in Islam. So that speech, you take from it that Imam Hussein didn't give bay'ah to Yazid at that time, not just because he's Imam, because he knows he's Imam. It's not going to make a difference if he's going to say, I'm Imam, and no, you're nothing. But he didn't give bay'ah because that person crossed the line. And that crossing the line by the evil is every day. If it's not every hour, you're going to face it. You're going to probably find out in your school, when you are in the school, that you're going to find a bully. Somebody just standing in the middle and then causing issues. And some of the bullies in America, believe it or not, they're forcing the kids to pay money for them. So the Shi'i on that moment shouldn't be scared from saying, no, I'm not having it. I've got Imam Hussein, he's my example. However, that tough decision of Imam Hussein alayhi salam was quite difficult. That Imam Hussein alayhi salam have paid. Imam Hussein alayhi salam had paid expensive price for it. So for that moment, Rabab alayhi salam, as the wife of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, Rabab alayhi salam, one of the grave narrations mentioned, she said, you know that Rabab is the mother of Abdullah alayhi salam. Rabab alayhi salam, at some point she said, after Hussein alayhi salam, I am not going to be under a roof at all, because his body, has been left on Karbala for 3 days under that burning sun. So until she died, she didn't put herself under a roof. Even when they went back to Medina, she was staying at the middle of the house under the sky with that horrible sun and horrible heat. And she was saying on her poems, إن الذي كان نورا يستضاء به في كربلاء قتيل غير مدفون سبط النبي جزاك الله صالحة عنا وجنبت خسران الموازين. She was saying, oh Hussein, Hussein, who was the light that everybody was following, has been killed in Karbala and has been left without even brain to his body. قد كنت لي جبلا صلدا ألوذ به وكنت تصحبنا بالرحم والدين. Oh Hussein, you was a mountain for me. Mountain has gone. من لليتامى ومن للسائلين ومن يغني ويأوي إليه كل مسكين. إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون. ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. وسيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلبون والعاقبة للمتقين والحمد لله رب العالمين. Ilahi, by the Imam Hussein alayhi salam, heal all the sick people we have. Give rahmah to all the marhumeen of our families and the Shia of Amir al-Mu'mineen. Accept this dam'a, accept this abarat, accept the attendance for us. O Habib ibn Mudahir, I beg you, please write our names down on your book to show that kind of bay'ah to Imam Hussein, to say, oh Imam, I couldn't be with you on that day, but I'm with you now and forever. May Allah help us to be better and better and better, to be inshaAllah one of the soldiers of Imam Sahib al-Asri wa Zaman. Ajjal Allah ta'ala faraja wa sahhala makhraja. Let's read dua for us together. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم كن لوليك الحجة ابن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرضك طوعا وتمكنه فيها طويلا وهب لنا رأفته ورحمته ودعاءه وخيرا ما ننال به سعة من رحمتك وفوزا عندك يا كريم يا كريم. Brothers, please recite Surah Al-Fatiha إلى أرواح المؤمنين والمؤمنات شيعة أهل البيت مسبوقة بالصلاة على محمد وآل محمد.